This is New Vision TV News. We take a look at the stories making news in today's bulletin. From the news around Uganda, West Nile Investment Symposium ends. And then Ministry of Health seeks recruits to work in theatres. And if you missed the Bayimba Festival and the International Kampala Fashion Week, we have the highlights for you. In the news around East Africa, Kenya's border dispute with Somalia takes a dangerous turn. In news around the world, Amnesty cautions travelers to the US after last weekend's mass shooting. And today's special report will look at why Uganda has high cases of fistula. Before we get into the news around Uganda, let us take a look at what is making news in the SATA division. It is already out. We have KCCA probes tycoons over city property ownership. We also have an interview with General Tumwine, who speaks out on MP's probe normal gallery and also calls MP Cecilia Ogwal a pathological liar. And the Catholic Church has clarified a consummated marriage cannot be dissolved by any human power or for any reason other than death. We have those stories and much more in this Saturday Vision. We now take a look at the news around Uganda. We start from Arua district. President Yoweri Museveni has closed the West Nile Investment Symposium that started on Thursday. He started off with commissioning Muni University, a post-harvesting training and service center. He also toured the exhibitors' stalls. Many investors attended the symposium and highlighted how best they can make West Nile an investors' hub. The symposium was organized under the theme Transformation of Africa's Upper Nile Valley through Pan-African Peace Building and Holistic Development. We move on to news in Jinja district. The police flying squad has arrested a suspect in connection to the theft of cars from Wakiso and Kampala. The suspect, only identified as Katamba among others, stole a vehicle and dumped it at the RDC's office. The RDC, Eric Sakwa, said the thugs who stole a navy blue Primo vehicle, registration number UAT482I, sent a letter to his office to the effect. The letter stated, "Attention Mr. RDC / Diesel Head Security Ginger. Be reminded that the Primo car registration number UAT482Y is a stolen car and is parked at the district headquarters, Busoga Square." Katamba is currently held at Nalfenya Police Station as the hunt for his accomplices continue. Coming in from Bundibujo district, 4 people died on spot and several others got injured after a trailer collided with 2 motorcycles before plunging into a valley along the Bundibujo-Nyakuha Road in Bundibujo district. The driver is believed to have lost control of the vehicle at Bugomba Hill in Busari sub-county, leading to the Thursday crash. The timber-laden vehicle was coming from neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo. 4 people died on spot, according to Benon Haruharema, the officer in charge of traffic in Bundibujo. News from Bundibujo district. 4 people from the same family in Natwala village, Nachirembe sub-county, died after eating suspected poisoned food. The deceased include 2 females and 3 males who are renting at Francis Musisi's rentals located at the same village. They had just stayed there for only 3 days. According to the landlord, Francis Musisi, he revealed a man who identified himself as Eric Hagimana on Sunday evening wanted a room for rent and his family. He paid for only 2 months but was surprised to learn that on Thursday evening the 5 bodies were covered inside the house, lying lifeless. Andrew Ainembabazi, the Mpija district CID officer, said they have launched investigations. Let's continue looking at more stories making news around Uganda. From Kampala, Uganda's capital city, the Ministry of Health is ready to recruit health workers who will work in the theatres at Health Centre Force. The Permanent Secretary, Dr. Diana Twine, said they want to put in place the necessary facilities and human resources to run the healthy centres. Let us hear from her.
Ministry of Health went ahead and put out scholarships strategically ensuring that we get more anesthetic officers, because when you analyze why some of those health center forces are not working, it's because we don't have anesthetic officers. So we trained, and most of those were seconded from the districts where they came from. But now that they have studied even more, we wrote to that district and said, please, can you tell us if that position, you have a position at health center force so that we post these people? Because COW must commit as accounting officer that when we send them back, they will be recruited, and then we functionalize those facilities.
Still in Kampala, the International Fashion Week returned at the Kampala Serena Hotel. This year's International Fashion Week ended putting South African designers on top. Unlike the usual all-African traditional wear, the designers fused both urban and Western designs with an African touch. The show was produced by South African legendary fashion producer Jan Malan. The grand finale had designers like Fatuma Asha, Kai's Diva Collection, Giosef by Paula Butajira, Judith Collections from South Africa, and Arapapa by Santa Azo. Besides the runway catwalks, guests were ear-massaged by the talented saxophonist Joseph Sax. We close off from Mukono district, where the 12th edition of Bayimba Festival took place at Lukulu Island. Therefore, the event gave an opportunity to Ugandan performers to showcase art. The fashion designers showcased new trends on the market. The skilled, experienced entrepreneur designers show topped the list here. Film lovers were fed on local stories and documentaries such as Bwana Jogo and War Dance showing at the festival. Various DJs ran the show as top musicians performed to the art. We now move on to stories making news around the East African region. Let's start off from Kenya. A border dispute with Somalia took a dangerous turn, with Kenyan MPs proposing deployment of the army on Thursday. In a joint motion, both Leader of Majority Aden Daule and Minority Leader John Mbadi agreed the Kenya Defense Forces should protect the sovereignty and territorial integrity. The bipartisan motion raises possibilities of a war option should the two countries fail to resolve the dispute. Somalia petitioned the International Court of Justice to resolve the dispute. The Kenyan Parliament's motion comes before the court rules on the matter. Meanwhile, Kenya and Barbados are to expand areas of cooperation and create more economic opportunities for their citizens. President Uhuru Kenyatta, during his visit to the island, and his host, Prime Minister Mayor Ama Matoli of Barbados, agreed that increased economic engagement will form the foundation for rekindling the historical bilateral ties between the two countries. News from Tanzania. The government has contracted 2 Chinese firms to construct a 3.2-kilometer bridge over parts of Lake Victoria. The China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation and China Railway 15th Bureau Group will do the job, hope to end transport problems across the lake. There have been several boat accidents on Lake Victoria. The bridge will connect the Chigongo and Busisi areas in Mwanza region. The ferry plying the areas is not sufficient. There are daily-long queues of cars waiting at several ports to make their journeys. And also, there are many passengers waiting for the ferry. In news around the world, we start from South Africa. President Cyril Ramaphosa won a court battle against South Africa's anti-corruption watchdog over a case about the approval of early retirement benefits for a senior tax official. It is the latest legal case that the country's anti-graft Ob's woman, Busisiwe Kwembane, has lost in the recent months against high-profile government officials and a large corporation. She is widely viewed by Ramaphosa's supporters as a proxy in the ruling African National Congress faction battles. News in Egypt, security forces killed 17 terrorists on Thursday during an operation against suspects in last weekend's deadly car blast in Cairo that claimed some 20 lives. The Interior Ministry say the 17 killed belong to the Hans Group, an armed affiliate of the banned Muslim Brotherhood. Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has called the collision between several vehicles in Cairo's a terrorist act, as one of the cars was loaded with explosives. The collision happened just before midnight Sunday. News from the Gambia, the face of former President Yahya Jammeh, which was printed on all the banknotes in the Gambia, has been removed from new bills more than 2 years after his flight from the West African country. With the accusations piling up that Jammeh ordered dozens of assassinations, the central bank in Banjul began distributing new 50, 100, and 200 notes in the local Dalasi currency from Tuesday. All the new notes have birds on one side and a variety of local scenes on the other, from a farmer in a rice paddy to a fisherman in a boat at sea. News from Zimbabwe. President Emmerson Mnangagwa has fired Tourism Minister Priska Mopfumira on Thursday, a statement from Zimbabwe's presidency said, after she was detained over the disappearance of millions of dollars during her time as welfare minister. Priska Mopfumira is facing 7 corruption charges linked to $94 million missing from the country's pension fund. News from the United States. Now, usually it is the U.S. that issues travel advisories to its citizens to avoid countries they consider unsafe. This time, there is one warning those traveling to the U.S. Following the weekend mass shootings, Amnesty International has issued travel advisory and demands that the country has an obligation to enact a range of measures to regulate access to firearms and to protect the rights of the people. In a Twitter message, Amnesty called on travelers and visitors to the United States to exercise extreme caution and have a contingency plan when traveling throughout the country. Closing off the news around the world is a story from China. Chinese telecom giant Huawei unveiled its own operating system on Friday as it faces the threat of losing access to Android systems amid escalating US-China trade tensions. Richard Yu, the head of Huawei's consumer business, told a press conference in the southern city of Dangan that the new system, called Harmony OS or Hongmeng in Chinese, would bring more harmony and convenience to the world. The highly anticipated software is considered crucial for the tech group's survival as it confronts a looming White House ban on US companies selling technology products to Huawei, which would remove its access to Google's Android operating system. That is it for the news around the world. We now take a short break, but when we come back, we'll take a look at the news in business.